Okay, so this is going to be a video just running down everything I've done to my C10 Scx24. Hopefully this will help you guys find something to do to yours that'll help performance, or just free things you can do to get that little extra bit of climbing power. But we'll start here with the electronics since that's most noticeable. So on the stock Scx24, obviously the battery sits back here up on the battery tray. But I've removed the battery tray, completely taken that out. So now the battery is up here on the frame rail, zip tied. So it's not removable out of the truck, but I can still charge it just fine. And I couldn't really find a better way to mount it. I'm sure I'll find a better way soon enough, but you'll probably notice I've cut the ESC tray, and basically I just cut it like right here. Just took an X-Acto knife and ran it over it a couple times, then broke it off. And so yes, this does now swivel a bit, but it's not too big of a deal, honestly. And then the ESC, it is a little higher than stock, so that's going to hurt your center of gravity, but your battery is lower, and the battery weighs way more. So getting your battery down lower is going to help you a lot more than this being up higher is going to hurt you. So with this being a little bit higher, it does help you get more performance because you can put the battery lower. And so I've just got this double-sided tape to the battery. It wiggles a lot. It's hard to see on video, but it does wiggle a lot. But it's sturdy enough I can flip the switch from underneath the truck body while it's on without it moving. Powering the whole thing, I've got this Endura 050 motor. This is their version 2, and then that's attached to the Endura aluminum motor plate in there. I'm sure you guys can see the red. As far as motors go, I wouldn't recommend it. It's good if you're just looking for a quick replacement. Well, not quick, actually. Their stuff takes a long time to ship, like a month. But as for a replacement, it's pretty decent if you want to order up like 2 or 3 at one time, because they're fairly cheap. And these stock motors on these burn up really quick, depending on how much you actually use it. But they're a half decent replacement, but they do get a little warm. Especially when you're going high speeds, but when you're crawling, it's just fine. So if you want to go that route, it's always an option. It's only like $12 for the motor and the plate, but I think it does use a stock mounting location, so I don't even think you need the motor plate, because the only difference between this one and the stock one is that it's red. So as far as my electronic setup goes, that's it. Oh, the servo. So I've got the Chinese Emax servo up there with the Endura servo horn and the Endura servo mount. And honestly, the servo, it's pretty decent for the price, especially with these smaller Patagonia tires. If you're using something like mudslingers or scramblers, I would honestly just skip over this and get the Eco Power, or just go all out and get the Mofo RC Black Label servo. It's going to be a way better option for you, because it even struggles to turn these sometimes, especially with that steering link slop. I do need to get new steering links. Okay, so moving on from the electronics, we're going to get into the suspension. Arguably one of the more important parts of a crawler. So I've got 4-link front and rear. Did a video on how to 4-link the front absolutely for free, which will get you way more flex. So check that out if you're watching this and you want to know how. Stock drive shafts, stock skid plate, stock axle housings. A lot of this stuff is stock. I mean, frame rails, like pretty much everything. But as far as shocks go, I've got these Hot Racing telescoping shocks, I think they call them, or double barrel, one of those two. They're really expensive. Honestly, I'd recommend going with something different, like the kinetic ones on eBay, which fit to your stock shocks, or I think the Mofo RC ones are even cheaper. But I'm running these full droop, as you can see, no springs, and they do bind a little bit, but after a while they'll kind of wear in and they'll grind each other down, the parts like moving together, and it'll help them move a lot more fluidly. What I did is I just had them like this, extended all the way down. I took a Q-tip and a little bit of grease, and I just kind of covered the outside. I put a little on the inside, and that helps a lot. But now that I've had them for like a month, they're working really well now that they're kind of settled in. and my links are high clearance. I just bent them up. I did a little short segment on how to do that in the 4-link video, and then up front, of course, I've still got the double barrels, but I've got them limit straps so they don't have as much down travel, but I still get all the flex. This thing has some half decent flex. It's not the best, but it's way better than stock, and it gets the job done. But still using the stock body mounts, using the hinge in the back. I just have the body off right now for ease of showing you guys, but I'm gonna switch that to magnetic mounts on the back and the front, so I can just pop the whole body off really easily. So as far as my wheel and tire setup goes, I'm running the RC 4-wheel drive Patagonias, like 20 bucks for a set of 4. And then the RC 4-wheel drive white stamp steel bead locks. They're like 25. As far as the bead locks go, they're really good for what they cost. They look pretty good, and they come in like 4 different colors, like brushed steel, white, black, and silver, I think, or something like that, or bare steel. I don't remember what the new one's called. But just these 6 screws around the outside hold the bead lock together, and then you still use your stock wheel nut to hold the wheel on. So yeah, they're fairly nice, but so they can be a pain to mount sometimes. So if you want to spend a little more money and make it easier on yourself, I would go with that route. But I've taken these things apart and put them back together several times, and they're still holding up just fine. But as far as weights go, I've got, you can see in there, I've got the Mofo RC. Yeah, make sure I get a better point here. This outside thing here, this outside ring, is the Mofo RC weighted hex. And then this inside thing is the Hot Racing extended axle patty weight. And I've got the Hot Racing plus 4mm axles all around, which basically just gives the truck a wider stance by 4mm on each side for 8mm in total. Good product for 12 bucks. Highly recommend those. You'll get a better stance, a little bit better side hilling ability, and it'll unlock the ability to put these patty weights on, and they're super great. They basically just slide over the axle. The extra 4mm, it isn't covered by anything except for that little spacer they give you in the package. But you just take the spacer off, throw that weight on, and you're good to go. So as far as the truck goes, that's about all I've got. I'm gonna be getting a Furitech Lizard soon enough. That's in the mail right now. Still waiting on that. Getting some Proline 1-inch Hyraxes. Still waiting on those. I'm gonna mount those on these wheels instead of the ones they come with. But I'm gonna be running this Fly Sky receiver with the Furitech Lizard, and I might rear steer this thing in the future. That's the idea of going with the Fly Sky radio. Is a little bit easier rear steer because it's got a built-in, rear steer thing. If you've got one. But yeah. So this thing is fairly stock. So that's pretty much the whole truck. Put that aside, and then we've got the body here. Nothing special. It's just trimmed up a lot to fit the super low stance this thing has. It's got a little custom cage in the back. I honestly just made that out of super glue and Q-tips. It's not very hard. Just cut them up with an X-Acto knife, glued them in there. I think it adds a little bit of detail, and it wasn't too hard to make. Honestly, it was pretty fun to make. So that gave me something to do. Inside is still completely fine, except for this headlight bumper brace in here. The middle part was hitting the servo arm with the extended wheelbase in the front. So I just cut the center part out, and it still works fine because the screws are out here. So as long as you just put these in straight with the one screw, it's fine. Got a few stickers on the back. Obviously, it doesn't hurt performance. Got this. I've got all the blue plastic of the body below the grill trimmed off. I've taken the bumper off the truck, obviously. And one last thing I forgot with my suspension here. When I extended the wheelbase on, obviously I've got the frame-mounted shocks as opposed to up here where they normally are, just to get more flex and everything. But when I extended the wheelbase, these front shocks got stretched out super far, and you can see they're at a huge angle. So the front sits super low. You can see the servos all the way up through the frame rails there. And so this back was mounted right here. You can see that hole right there. It doesn't even have a screw in it right now. But then you can, I don't know if you can see that. There we go. There's that little hole right there behind where the shock is mounted. And that's where the battery tray mounts. And that's where I had them mounted. And the back was sitting a little higher than the front, so I figured instead of trying to fiddle with the body or something, since I'm already running a full droop, I obviously can't do anything with the spring, so I just drilled a new hole right in front of those holes on each side. It mounted the shocks to that, and that worked great. I just used like a 1/64 drill bit, went straight through the frame, worked out fine. And as far as holding these back shocks on go, you can probably see this little piece of plastic right here. It's actually just one of the feet of the battery tray cut off, using those as kind of like a nut. So yeah, I mean, that's the whole truck. Hopefully the snow will melt here soon, and I can get a little bit of running footage for you guys on my course. Probably gonna be doing a few videos, making things on the course, because I like to do that a lot in my free time. But yeah, that's it for the truck. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and see you in the next video.